I'm Roni Weiss. I'm the Executive Director of Travel Unity. We are an NGO focused on making travel welcoming to people of all backgrounds and identities.
Roni, thanks for getting some time with Breaking Travel News here at Caribbean Week. You've been on a panel earlier today. Tell me a little bit about kind of what you were talking about.
So we had a session earlier today, inclusive marketing for travel and tourism, and we covered.
Oh, sorry, I'm just listening. That's sorry. We'll go again. That's cool. Hi, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Roni Weiss. I am the Executive Director of Travel Unity. We're an NGO focused on making travel welcoming to everyone.
Well, thanks for joining Breaking Travel News here at Caribbean Week. You were on a panel earlier. Tell me a little bit about what you were talking about.
So I ran a session earlier today about inclusive tourism marketing. We were covering how it's not just about representation, but we also have to have a better understanding of what the different sorts of markets and people that we're trying to appeal to are looking for. So overall, what's been great about the sort of expansion of how the Caribbean's been looking at what it's trying to do is thinking about different kinds of people to come in, expanding the appeal. But if you want to bring in different kinds of folks, you really need to understand what their concerns and needs are, and also make sure that they feel represented within marketing.
And what are those concerns and needs?
So one of the big things that came about, Donna Karen and Reginald Charlot, who both used to work for New York City Tourism, talked a lot about safety. So as places in the Caribbean are increasingly thinking about LGBTQ plus travelers, what is it going to be for them to actually be there and feel like they're safe when they're coming to a place? And around disability, are you getting your needs met? One thing that actually one of our attendees asked about or brought up is that there isn't necessarily always a place for people to park. So somebody who has mobility impairments can easily get in to a restaurant or the like. So I think there's a lot that needs to be considered, and it's great that these conversations are starting to take place, and Caribbean Week's a great place for them to happen.
And based on your experience, when you actually implement some of these changes and recommendations, what's the impact?
So the reality is that the groups that we're talking about are always looking to each other to know where is safe, where is comfortable, where will they feel like they belong. So it's a virtuous cycle. When you have somebody who has a great experience, they tell their friends and family, they return themselves, you start getting this promotion in various places. Another thing that came up in our session was working with different content creators. So they in and of themselves have an audience, especially if they have a niche around identity. So the more you're doing this work, the more you're reaching out to folks to appeal to different kinds of people within all these different identity groups, the more you're going to get more travelers coming, and ultimately that's, as long as you're doing it responsibly, that's the goal.
And what's the sort of impact that you can see from a destination implementing some of the recommendations you're making?
Well, overall, we have our publicly available standards, and they have three pillars: leadership and workforce, community, and travelers. So in general, I think a lot of people are trying to get more visitors in, which makes sense. That's where the money's coming from. But for us as an NGO, we really want to make sure that everybody is benefiting from travel. So for the traveler side, you're going to get more people, and you're going to have hopefully better experiences for those people. But we also want to provide those benefits for communities who can share those stories, reap the economic benefits. And then on the workforce side, you get more people, there's more jobs, and hopefully you can provide better experiences for that workforce too. So for us as an NGO, we hope it benefits everybody who's part of the ecosystem.
And when you think specifically about the Caribbean, what are those challenges that need to be overcome?
So I would even expand beyond the Caribbean, which is that a lot of times when people think about sustainability, they're thinking about the environmental piece. And it makes perfect sense, especially when you have an island nation, that you care about climate change and sea levels and changes and all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, if you believe in the triple bottom line of sustainability, it's not just planet, it's people and it's profit. You can't continue the work without the people who are doing the work, the people who are part of those products within a place, and your customers, your travelers. And that part also affects your profit or your prosperity side too. So I think in general, when people care about sustainability, they have to care about inclusion, because if you look at the core of the word sustain, you're not going to sustain anything if there are no people and there's no money.
And you talked a little bit about sort of marketing, and you talked about creators. How do you take this proposition ultimately to market?
So I think it's really important for us to think about the people we're not seeing, right? The reality is that the Black American traveler, travelers with disabilities, LGBTQ plus travelers, solo female travelers, all of these different subsets of travelers have a lot of money to spend, and it's the choice of the Caribbean if you guys want to get that money. And if you do, the reality is you can't market to everybody all the time. You can't say every product is for everybody. You need to be thoughtful about it, and you need to understand what their difficulties, their challenges, their needs are, and what the gaps are. And sometimes those gaps might just be perception. That's an easier thing to deal with. Other times, you might have to train your industry to be more inclined and understanding of what the needs and concerns of these groups are. So it really just depends where you're at, but it does take having a thoughtful process that you're implementing.
And who's doing it well?
So I was quoted recently in a piece around LGBTQ plus stuff, and they quoted Curacao around LGBTQ plus. And they credited the fact that they have that Dutch connection. Yeah. So that's one of the things. Reginald, who spoke on our panel, talked about ABC. He said Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao being, the three places where LGBTQ plus travelers are the most welcome. I think that there's bits and pieces depending on where you're at. I've heard different initiatives that are kind of specific around travelers with disabilities. If you find somewhere where there's a mat that you can go out to get to the beach and have that experience and get in the water, well, that's already great. So I think that, it's bits and pieces around the region who's doing things well, and you just want to get better all around.
And a final message from you to the market.
I really am excited, in all honesty, that CTO is doing such a good job furthering these conversations. Obviously, very happy that Travel Unity is included in these, but certainly beyond us, there's a difference in the sort of expansion of what does it mean for Caribbean tourism to be going beyond, yes, those tried and trues of sun and sand to cultural tourism and having these broader experiences. I think the reality of all of this is you're not getting rid of any of it. You're not trying to not appeal to the travelers you've had. You're not trying to get rid of the core products you've been promoting for decades. You're adding to it, and that's great because you're going to have more travelers who are going to stick around for longer.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.